Welcome to the 22nd episode of Coffee with Coaches. It's been a long trip, and for the first time at the table is the whole team, apparently, for baseball, the whole coaching staff, just everybody. We didn't get the mascot in.
We did.
That's next time.
Yeah.
And
have Reg just up there on the corner dancing.
Yeah, well, he's good at it.
He is.
And for the first time, I'll be hosting because my buddy McNett here, you're going to be on the other side of this, although still side of the table.
Yes.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic.
McNett, the pressure's on you today.
Oh, not too much. I love the camera.
You finally got to answer the questions, not give them.
I'll be good. I think so.
Yeah, consider you wrote up the notes.
I did write up the questions, so I know exactly
you're
what.
prepared. You've read the script.
Yes.
So, I guess to start this off, how you guys haven't played any games that on the record yet. You've had some exhibition stuff, but just how's the season going so far? How's the workouts?
You know, it's always tough to tell, in my point of view, until we actually get out there and play other teams in the spring. But guys have been working hard. I feel like guys are coming together as a team, and we're starting to figure some things out. But then, obviously, getting through these first couple series, we get a feel for our team and see what direction we need to go and where we need to improve even more going into conference.
You guys going to concur with your boss on that one, or?
Yeah, I agree. I really like the leadership from the sophomores this year. I think something we were missing last year was players pushing each other, and we got a great group of freshmen this year that are really pushing those sophomores, and everybody's out there competing for a spot.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So is it? I was talking with McNett earlier today. So what I think people will sometimes forget is college athletics is year-round. I mean, it's constant because there's so much pressure to be good and to compete. Mm-hmm. Is it hard to keep people on task when the games don't count till what? February is when you guys start, right?
February 10th.
Right. So even like you could call that mid-February, but you guys start in August.
It definitely. The fall for baseball is long. You know, you're out there. We're not indoors in the AC. Having that kind of deal. We're outside. It's hot in August, September, and then we finally get it cooled down maybe in October a little bit, but they're out there grinding every day. We get usually 1 day a week off, but they're out there competing and getting after trying to earn a spot. And to tell them that from August till February that they're trying to earn a spot, you can see mentally it's a grind. And by now, guys are tired of practicing. They're tired of playing against the same colored jersey. They're ready to get after somebody else. And it's up to us to get them motivated and to have them bring that energy every day. And we're trying to do that and keep them as motivated as we can. It seems like these 2 weeks left are going to seem like forever.
Drag by.
But, they're still doing a good job. We scrimmaged this last weekend, and I felt like Sunday they did a good job of bringing that, and hopefully we got one more weekend of scrimmages, so trying to get through those with obviously no injuries and getting them motivated and all that. But it definitely is a grind. Baseball being a spring sport, you got all fall of grinding and trying to get better and getting those freshmen better and up to speed on how we do things here.
Yeah, it's great. There's not really an off season.
No.
Right?
Because
So much can happen.
Winter break is so big for our sport because, baseball, you got to keep your arm in shape. It's not trying to get a little conditioning in before the season and doing that as much as if your arm's not in shape and you don't do anything over winter break, you just got January, really 3 weeks to get ready for the season, and that's where injuries come into play. And you want to be your best in February, and you got to really strengthen your arm over the winter break to get ready to go for that first start. And baseball, it's a little different, and we can deal with the conditioning. That's not as much in baseball. You're running 90 feet to bases, at max, maybe a triple for those position players. So that's not a big deal. It's a lot of short burst stuff, but arms and that stuff and swinging, I think, in my opinion, hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things to do, and you take time off on that. It's hard to it takes a little bit to get back in the swing of things. So,
some people call baseball again the thinking man's game. So you take mental breaks from that, and then it's just it's something that you got to get in shape. All right, go run every day, but getting in mental shape can be a little bit tougher. You mentioned the sophomores. You guys, how is the sophomore group looking for you guys?
I mean, on the mound, I think our sophomores are doing really well. Gavin Heltemus, he's a returner who made a lot of noise last year, and I think we're going to lean a lot on him from the pitching side. Yep. Brett Mitchell, I don't want to steal a lot of the mic on this, but I think Brett Mitchell is a tremendous leader, especially for the pitching staff. To have someone back there that can call a good game, can be a good blocker, and a good guy who shuts down the run game. that's huge for us on the pitching side. And then, not to be on one of my boys or anything like that, but Trevor Lundquist from Texas. He's transformed his body. I mean, he came in as a round guy, and now he's pretty slim. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we definitely have some guys that are returning that did some good things for us. Trevor obviously is a transfer coming in, so we're hoping for big things out of him out of the bullpen. We're returning our shortstop who played pretty much every game other than a couple due to injury last year. Damon Jorgensen, he signed to go to Valparaiso, Division I up there, I believe, Indiana, isn't it?
Yeah.
Indiana. And he's a good player. We're expecting a lot out of him. Shortstop is a big position for us. Obviously, in the middle of the infield, those guys got to take control of the infield. And then we're returning an outfielder, our center fielder, Antonio Collada, which is a big position for the outfield. Obviously, our two guys that are in charge of their areas, catcher, shortstop, center field, and we got three of those guys returning, which is huge for us to kind of help lead the other guys, and those guys going through that freshman year, playing a lot of games for us, all three of those guys as freshmen, is huge returning those guys, and hopefully they can, our freshmen and other guys maybe they didn't play as much can lean on those guys that are experienced. So,
and how much does this staff put a focus on having freshmen learn from sophomores, and how obviously it'd have to be a difference just based on who you got as the sophomores, but do you guys trust this freshman group a lot with the sophomores?
I do, and it's big, and I played junior college ball. I know all of us played junior college baseball, and I know when I got there, it's a whole different world than high school baseball or showcase. And you learn a lot from those sophomores going through it, how you deal with, how the coaching staff is going to coach, what to expect at practice, what to expect during the game. And for us, a big thing is what to expect in the classroom, getting our guys to understand our expectations of get in class, we don't miss class, doing the work in the classroom like you would on the field and committing yourself to get good grades. And that's where our number one goal as a team first is let's do the work in the classroom and set ourselves up for the future. That's why you're here, number one. And our sophomores, I think, are a big reason of how letting them know when they come in what we expect as coaches. And probably the one thing that's going to frustrate me the most is not handling that right. And I think that's big for our sophomores, letting those freshmen when they come in.
For me on the field, us as coaches, we kind of want those sophomores to take control out there. We can yell at them, get on them all day, and it kind of gets old for them hearing it from us. But when they hear it from a teammate, I think it goes a long way for them. And like he said, with Brett Mitchell, Antonio Collada, two of our team captains, they do a great job of controlling things on the field. And then we have a third baseman, a freshman, Austin Bonnell, and he just gets it. He's just like another sophomore out there. Hasn't played a game yet, but we can see that he understands, and he's really pushing those guys out there. So it's great to have guys like that around to take control.
Well, and you mentioned something really interesting, Coach, and I guess it's kind of obvious, but I had never really thought about it. What is a couple of the biggest differences between, I guess, university baseball and junior college baseball?
It's, in my opinion, junior college is more of a developmental of the skill set and in the classroom. We get a lot more team practice than you're going to get at a 4-year. 4 years are limited on the amount of team practice that they can get in the fall. I think they get a month, maybe a little over a month of, I think it's 20 hours, maybe a week of team practice. Wow. But outside of that, you're only getting about 2 or 3, somewhere around there, and somewhere around 5 or less hours of team practice. Other than that, you're individual. So it's like 4 or 5 guys at a time with the coaches. So you're getting this team atmosphere and amount of time. You're getting so much more time on the field in the fall to develop. And then we can also be in the weight room with them as well. And then we get a lot more games in the fall. At the 4-year level, you get three games against other teams in the fall. We were able to get 20 dates in the fall. So that's a big difference. So guys that are looking to come in that need to improve their game, improve physically, and in the classroom too, obviously, a lot less people in the classrooms, a little more one-on-one with the teachers. It helps kids out a lot. So there's a lot of different ways, just us playing both levels that you see the difference. And a lot of times, especially the D2 level, you get a lot of JUCO transfers. Those guys are physically ready and a skill set. A lot of times there's not much you're going to do as a coach with those guys as just get them to play play the way you want. And my brother coaches at a D2. He's recruiting a lot of these JUCO guys. It's just getting them to play your style of baseball. You don't really have to change their swing or mechanics on the mound like we do here. I see such a bigger jump in our guys from when they first step on, even freshmen from when they first got here till now. I mean, a lot of times you don't recognize half those guys, the way they're going about it, and body-wise, how much they transform.
Well, to kind of piggyback with that, I mean, I've coached, down in Texas at the 4-year level, and recruiting-wise, I mean, we only focused on the JUCO guys because freshmen, they're not, like Coach has said, they're not ready. At the 4-year, because you're going 18, sometimes even 17-year-old kids facing 22 to 24-year-old men, and regardless of how headstrong as we were at 18, I mean 24-year-old men, there's a big difference.
And there's some that can do it, but
of course
it's all obviously tough.
Yeah,
and you're against kids your age at this level, and guys that have been in it. Sophomores have been in it for 1 year and freshmen so it's a little different. Sometimes you get to that 4-year, kids have been in it 5 years or 6 years if they've redshirted a year or two going in against your first year. That's a lot of experience that those kids are trying to compete against.
And then financially too. I mean, shoot, paying $30,000 to $40,000 a year for a 4-year, I'll take what we offer. I mean,
Absolutely.
Well, and I was never an athlete at the collegiate level like this, but I think a lot of people look at the level athletes play at and they just assume that's just talent, that's the talent level. When in reality, in which you guys talk about grooming skills and a lot of one-on-one time and a lot of practice time, there's a lot of, and you talk about recruiting junior college kids over maybe high school kids for especially the Division II level. It is more, I think some athletes, don't they kind of, once they get taught correctly, that talent just blooms, right? And that might have been hidden behind bad mechanics or maybe subpar coaching at the high school or summer ball level.
We get a lot of, maybe more so, some small town kids that maybe just didn't have that exposure or that opportunity like some of these bigger city kids that really get out there and get that coaching or have the opportunities to get these facilities that these kids have now in high school. It's just crazy to me the difference from when I was coming up to what these kids have now. So that part of it obviously helps, and just you see it a lot of times. It's just learning the game of baseball. There's a lot to learn and know what to do, but we always say, my philosophy is once you get a kid to buy into team first in the sport of baseball, it really relieves a lot of pressure off kids. And so much in high school and showcase baseball, it's individually based. It's not as much about winning as putting myself out there to get recruited. And now getting them to college, it's a process of getting them to understand we're doing what's best for the team. When it comes at the plate we got to run on third, less than 2 outs. Are you going to try to drive a guy in and get a hit and try to hit a home run, or are you just going to try to hit a ground ball to second baseman and score the run? And a lot of times that relieves a lot of pressure, and kids stop worrying about how they're doing and start worrying about how the team's doing. They start to bloom and really start to excel, and it's fun to see that take place. And obviously every year is different when your team finally figures that out, and we're hoping obviously this team can figure it out early, because last year it took us a little later, and once we finally figured that out towards the second half of the season, we really took off as a team. So we're hoping with this team they can figure that out early, obviously, and get off to a good start.
And you mentioned the 20. How many games did you have in the fall?
You get 20 days, and you can play quite a bit of innings in those. So I don't think we played all 20,
right?
But we played quite a bit. I want to say we probably got
almost every weekend.
Yeah, we probably played 15 of those 20, and you play 14 innings, sometimes more than that in a day. So everybody gets a lot of time in there. Everybody's going to get time to get on the field and grow. Baseball we have a little more, obviously. We're going to have around 40 kids, but we need those guys in the fall to really get in there, and because you're trying to fill innings with pitchers. Pitchers get a lot of work. Position players, you have plenty of time to get, and that's not including our inter squads between each other that we try to do every week too. And so to have them now, it seems like crazy. We've been scrimmaging, this flu bug's going around campus. We had 2 catchers out yesterday. We had 1 catcher for the whole squad, so we had to put an outfielder back there catching yesterday, and third baseman. So we have all these guys sick. Thank God we have enough guys to really do this, or we wouldn't be getting much done this last 2 weeks with this sickness going around.
That has been crazy, and I think every sport has been hit by it. And
Well, basketball was the other night with Cedric.
That's right. Yeah,
and that was a big win for them to get that with one of their starters out. And I'm hoping we can get this out of here before we get started, so we don't have to deal with that.
It's crazy, just the idea that just a campus, especially a small campus like ours, it's pretty scary. I was praying my broadcasters like, everybody be here, please, everybody be here, because it was a big game. So that's what we try to take care of. But so on pace, again, you haven't played a game that officially mattered yet, but obviously every second of practice matters to you guys, even if it doesn't sometimes for the players. I've asked this kind of already about how they're looking, but just good feeling so far?
Yeah. I think the good feeling I get is the character of this team. I'm really excited about how a lot of our freshmen get it, how to buy into team, and getting them to understand that. It hasn't been a big adjustment for this group as I've felt of groups in the past. And just the character I think we have with a lot of guys on the team is going to help us. You know, we might not be the most talented team, and we've had some of those in our past, and our best years have been those teams where maybe we weren't the most talented, but they really understood that part of the game and played together and played hard. And they really got after it and liked to compete and wanted to win. And I feel like this group has a chance to be that type of team. And hopefully, and then obviously I can deal with it. If we're playing hard and we're playing the right way, I can deal with the results. And I feel like I'm going to get that out of this team, hopefully.
The kind of piggyback, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You know, one of the slogans that Jake has kind of bought our whole team in, and definitely the coaches, is work wins. And you know, just looking from the out, you know, from everything that we've done and from what I was told about last year, I think we have a good group of guys that really work. I mean, we've given guys days off, and instead of taking the day off, they're calling Coach Brown or Coach Glover or myself to unlock the weight room or the indoor.
That's awesome.
And I mean, you know, like Coach was saying, that, you know, when you have those guys that buy in, and I mean, I know I'm biased. I know that, but I think that, you know, it kind of puts us in a good situation for the year, you know.
Yeah, and I think just the family atmosphere that this team has is much improved from last year. I felt last year there was kind of some clicks on the team, and like Coach said, it took us a while to come together as a family, and I think that's why we started so slow last year. But this year, I mean, the guys just seem to be hitting it off, going to basketball games together, hanging out in the dorm, having a good time. And, you know, maybe too good of a time sometimes, but
it's college.
Hey, it's college, and it brings them together and brings them closer. And like Coach McNett said, I mean, they've been running us ragged, having them go up, unlock the weight room for them. And I don't got a problem with guys getting better, and I enjoy being up there with them and working with them. And I'm never going to turn a guy down. And we just didn't have a lot of that last year, and I think that's good signs to come for this year.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It varies from year to year, obviously. Some groups take longer, some groups don't, and it's just the way junior college athletics is. You just never know. You don't have 4 years to groom a guy. We have these kids for 1 or 2 years, so it's just different on team chemistry every year, obviously.
Did it ever keep you up at night? Like, we go back to even to what you mentioned earlier about how sometimes your more talented players or teams don't always produce. Wouldn't it be much easier if just that took care of itself? Doesn't that keep you up at night?
A lot. I think about it a lot. There's always those kids maybe that don't have the talent and might not play very much here, and they just understand how to get it. They work their butts off and put all the work in, and you just wish that guy, you could take that work ethic and how he goes about his business and put it in that guy that maybe doesn't understand that, and what type of player, if you combine that kid could actually be. And every once in a while you're going to find that where that guy understands it, he has the talent, and he works, and that's a special player. And obviously you're looking for that. It's just so hard to find it in high school baseball. You do your best, but to see these kids, you have to see them a lot, and you wish you could see them a lot to really see that side of them. But like I said, nowadays you see them a lot in showcase and summer ball, and it's not about winning from. It's about it's individually based, so it's hard to see that part of it.
I think AAU basketball kind of goes to the same thing. It's just like, I want to get me out there, and it's like, hey, the team will take care of you. I think, which and I think that's part of growing up. And even I was a junior college student, and it was kind of a cool thing to look back on and go, man, that 2 years, 18, you turn 18, 19, 20, that's a big time frame just to grow up as a human being and an athlete for you guys.
And I think not only do we obviously try to encourage that and help them grow, but our campus here does a lot of that. Our teachers do a good job of that and help them and make these kids understand. And I think that's one good thing about Coffeyville, obviously, is it's a more of a family environment here as well. We try to do that here, and I think that helps our kids as well just grow as men. And trying to get to that point. Hopefully, I have all of our guys. I don't have to worry about it, but trust me, it seems like every night I'm thinking about something along those lines, making sure, are they going to go to class tomorrow? What?
It's the problem with dealing with human beings sometimes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Now, Coach Glover, I haven't been able to talk to you quite yet all throughout this podcast.
Let's get you on here.
You're the champ of the outfield, right? That's your gig?
Yes, sir.
So how they look at? How's it going so far?
They're looking good. I think our outfield is going to be really good. Antonio, he's don't hit the ball to him because he can fly. And on top of that, he gets great jumps on the ball. And Brooks Robinson, I think he's going to be a really great player for us this year as well. He's very baseball smart, and I think he's going to help us out a lot.
Nice. And I don't mean to put the three assistants on the spot with your boss in the room, but how does this staff come together? I mean, you got to talk about the team coming together, but your games are coming up. What do you guys try to do just
a lot
together?
of cards.
Yeah, play cards. We try to get together and play cards and do some things. I mean, obviously, me and this is Braiden's second year, and I've been here for a while, but this is these guys' first year with me and how we run it here. So obviously, it's different for them as well, learning how I coach and learning how we've done it here and trying to get together and know each other too, because we had no background before this sometimes in the coaching world you find guys that and you get them here. I had no background with these guys and didn't know a lot about them. They didn't know much about me other than maybe hearsay. So trying to get on the same page of philosophy and how we do things and what we look to bring every day, and in the weight room and what we expect on these guys, get them out of it. But I think, obviously, these guys are pretty easy to get along with. I'd like to consider myself maybe easy to get along with. So I'll give a shout out to my brother. He might be one that's a little more, especially when he first got here, a little more difficult to get along with. He's a little more rougher on the edges than maybe I am.
Older or younger brother?
Older.
Yeah.
Much older.
But
right?
maybe that was just me and him working together, the brother combo. Maybe he was just, Braiden played under both of us, so he saw that head on, how me and him could get into each other a little bit. And that's just probably sibling rivalry and getting after each other. But we don't really have that here. So, but I don't think I've had to get on these guys too much. They like to work, and I think the big thing is they love the game of baseball. That's why you got to be coaching and trying to get that to these kids is the big thing.
Yeah, I just love the different backgrounds that we come from, and these guys love baseball just as much as me and Jake do, and I love just sitting around talking, picking their brain about things and hearing things from a different perspective. Is really good for me and helps me develop as a coach. And like Jake said, it's been easy getting along with these guys, and I think we've come together pretty well, and I'm just excited to get things rolling.
Actually get to play some games.
Yeah, geez, in a week now.
A couple Midwest guys versus these guys
Southern
down
boys.
You can obviously tell with Coach Glover's accent over here, the way he was going about it. And McNett being from Florida.
Just the greatest state ever.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
But that's, I think people sometimes forget. It's like, well, the players are going to do all this stuff. But it's like you got to have good chemistry in the
Staff,
in the dugout too, right?
And that feeds to the team.
Yeah.
And credit to Jake and Chelsea. I mean, they've had us over, months if you put the days together. I mean, for dinner or cards or, watching football games or basketball games, even though, it may be just KU, but, we watch them. But I think that having that ability to do that has really helped us gel.
I'm sure she gets frustrated some. Coaches are coming up, but she cooks for us and she enjoys it too. And
then Maddox.
Yeah, I've got the little one this year.
Yeah,
the little boy this year. So he always makes it interesting. We used to find ourselves, I didn't have to worry about it. Now I just find all of us sitting there just watching my son play the whole time. That was pretty entertaining. So.
It's just part of the currency of getting older, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about how all the scrimmages and events you guys have done haven't counted. Well, the first one coming up does count.
Yep.
And I see on these notes that McNett over here was gracious enough to type up for me. You're opening up with number 7 in the nation, right?
Yes, sir.
Hutch. First game of the year, ranked team. I mean, how does all that factor into what you guys are looking for right off the bat?
I like to schedule Hutch at the beginning of the year. I know I want to test to see where we're at, and we got a tough series right after that with Butler too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see where we're at and see what we need to improve on, and I feel like those teams are going to do that for us. I want to see where all the work we've put in, how we're going to handle the adversity of going through these first games, and obviously Hutch, I have a history with their coach. Coach Schmidt is a good friend of mine. He coached me in high school, coached me in the summers of high school, he was my pitching coach at Barton County, so that's another reason we play him. Obviously just our history, but they're always a talented team. They're just so well coached. He does a great job with them and gets his guys to play the right way. And then one of their assistants coached here at Coffeyville for a year, Toby Cornejo. So some history there. He knows how the way we kind of do things. They know the way we kind of run our system. So it's always a fun series. And they had a really good team last year. That's one of their better teams they've had last year. And that just speaks to them. I know they had some sophomores that they lost, but knowing the way they recruit and they get after it, I'm sure they're going to be just as talented this year, and they're going to be a tough test for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts?
I mean, they're definitely. I mean, looking at their stats from last year, they could swing it just a little bit.
They could hit. And
So-
we were young. We were a young staff last year going in there, and the first game or two of the series was kind of eye-opener for our guys. We were a pretty young team last year, and we got to that third game. It was a lot more competitive game, went into extra innings, I believe, and did some good things and helped us really figure out what we need to get better. Obviously pitching and defense was one coming out of that series, but man, they had the player of the year on that team last year, played second base. He was pretty special. He's at Texas A&M now, and their number one pitcher that they threw to, I believe, is at Texas A&M. I think
yeah.
He went to a big school. So they had some pretty talented guys last year that could really hit it, and our field maybe plays a little different. We have a pretty big field here, so they were more definitely last year. I don't know anything about them this year, but they were more power oriented last year, and that ball was flying last year. So
hopefully we turn the fans off so the wind's not blowing too much.
Well, it's looking like it. It's been nice the last week, but I'm sure it's going to be 38 degrees and cold and blowing in by first game. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing yet. So I'll let you know after.
And that first game hits on
February 10th.
February 10th.
A Saturday, Sunday series.
So, yeah, absolutely there should be some people out there, unless it's 38 degrees.
Yeah, I don't blame them. My wife will probably be in the same boat. They'll sit in the car and watch from out in the parking lot. So, but that's the one thing about being an outdoor sport. So,
It'll definitely be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
That's good to get outside, too, for the fans. You're cooped up in basketball. The basketball teams have been doing pretty well, but it's nice to get outside a little bit. So you've name-dropped a handful of players' names, but to kind of end this thing, not that I want you guys to leave or anything, but can you give me a handful of names, 5, 6, whatever, of guys that you have seen a spark from early and work out, somebody that players that you really rely on, and people you think might just really light the conference on fire?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to name the guys I'm going to name. I know are guys what I'm going to get out of every day. I don't know if they're going to have 6. You just never know at this level. I know these guys that put the work in every day and are going to come every day with the right mindset. And those Brett Mitchell obviously is our one of our team captains. He's our leader. He puts the work in. He didn't. Maybe it was a good thing. Maybe it was not. But he didn't play all fall for us. He was hurt. He had hand surgery, so he's just getting back. And that might have been better for us to figure some things out as a team too. But he's a guy, you know what you're going to get, and we need not necessarily put up a bunch of stats, but we need him to be a leader for us to have a successful year. Antonio Collada is going to be a big one. He's going to probably be around the top of the order there and be a big bat that really set the table for our lineup. And him coming back, and like Coach Glover said, he can really go get it in the outfield and be that guy out there to really cover some ground and help our pitchers out.
And
Who else in the infield?
Well, I think for me on the infield, I think Damon could be one of the best defensive shortstops in the conference. He was pretty good last year, and I think he's got even better this year. And then we got a young freshman, Zach Freeman, and he's just a dirtbag type player, brings it every day, really, really fast. He should steal a lot of bags for us, and
now,
I'm excited to see how he does.
As a non-baseball person, dirtbag is a positive, right?
Dirtbag is a positive.
Just want to put that out there for.
Yes, dirtbag is a positive. He's a grinder, and he's actually another shortstop. He might play some second base or some outfield for us, but he's really pushing Damon at short and jawing with him and talking trash a little bit, and we enjoy that as coaches because it kind of puts Damon in his place and keeps him working hard too.
Dirtbag's kind of that guy, like a Pete Rose, the guy that dives all over. He never leaves a field with his jersey clean. It's gonna be dirty,
blue collar.
Yeah, it's gonna be that worker guy. And we always call those dirtbag guys, the guys that really love the game and enjoy being out there, and just that guy that can't get enough baseball. I think that's what Coach Brown, he works with those guys close to those infielders. So obviously Gavin Heltzemus, we've talked about him. We're going to lean on him a lot to be our number one guy and really go set the tone for the series. He's got a chance to really do some good things this year. He had a lot of positives last year, had a lot of good starts, had a couple ones early, being a freshman going out there, but him setting the tone could really be big for us going in all our, obviously, conference, leading that game one. I feel like there's not going to be a lot of guys out there that had the same stuff as Gavin. Now it's just, can he go out and produce and do what we think he's capable of?
Coach Glover, you got anybody?
I think Coach McNett's pictures, Aaron Bechtel, I think he's going to do some great things this year. He's a freshman, and I think he's going to be great here and wherever he goes next.
Absolutely.
He's going to help us out a lot this year.
He's obviously talented, or we wouldn't talk about him, but
Right.
And the funny thing about Aaron is he came in as a two-way guy and could have been a really good catcher and done some really good things. Could hit we rank our guys, we have our players rank the other guys on the team, and he was highly ranked as a position player going into winter break by his peers, and he came to us and said he just wants to pitch. And credit to him, I think he understands where his future's at. I think he's got a bright future on the mound, but he's a guy that really knows how to pitch and is not one of those that gets too high, too low. And that's a good quality to have on the mound, and he's gonna go out there and compete, and you know what you're gonna get out of Aaron every day. Yeah. And he's one of the freshmen, maybe one of the top freshmen that you're gonna watch, especially on the mound. And obviously Zach Freeman's a big one, position player wise for us as freshmen.
Well, Gavin and Aaron have already been taken, so I can't use their names.
Sorry, Steve.
It's all right, I would definitely say Brooks Robinson, I think, will be a guy who just goes about his business and does a good job for us. And I'm going to say again, Trevor Lunkwitz. And surprisingly, Louisiana or Garrison Walton, I think, will be guys that we talk about.
It's so hard to tell, especially on the mound. You just never know once the lights turn on how guys handle it. You can kind of get an idea, position player-wise, maybe a little more. But on the mound, you just never know. And everybody handles it different. You've seen it come in. Some guys with great stuff and maybe don't handle the freshman year, put a lot of pressure on himself, don't believe in it yet. So obviously it's our job to get them to believe in it and get that confidence in them. But
and Hunter McMahon too.
Yeah, that's a big one. It's not. He was here last year. Hunter had Tommy John surgery. A super talented kid. Yeah. If he can get healthy, even if he does anything for us or not, I really think he's got a chance to maybe go do some special things and play some professional baseball after this. And obviously, we want him to be back and healthy, but we're not going to push it to where we're risking his future. But if we can get him back, obviously, I think he can do some really good things. Couple other guys, but we talked about him. Austin Bonnell, a freshman. Like I said, like Coach Brown said, he's a big team guy, and he wants to win, and he puts a lot of work. First guy to the field every day, and one of the last guys there. And
which the team voted a freshman as team captain.
Yeah,
and they
that's big
really
for him.
feed off of him.
Yeah.
He's the one, you'll see him at the basketball games. He's probably in the front row rallying everybody, yelling the loudest
really
one.
Short.
Yeah, short guy. Sorry, Austin. And then
and it's on the scout
Jorge Ortiz is a guy we're excited about. He's a Puerto Rican, and he'll be first base DH, but he's kind of one of our big power threats. And we're hoping he can do some good things for us, obviously, and that's a little bit up to Coach Brown, getting him ready to go and making sure we can get him right. So
No pressure.
yeah. So, but he's got a chance to do some really. He's got some power that maybe we haven't had here in the past. I don't think in any of our years here that he has. Now that doesn't mean that he's going to go out and hit. Now, obviously, we hope, but the potential's there. So
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in. We'll get McNett back to his normal duties on the rest of the pod, but I really appreciate you guys coming in. Again, it's really cold outside, but that doesn't mean we can't talk some baseball. And I know there's people really excited for this season. And I'd like to point out, this is the first time I think this podcast has been educational. Dirtbag, we have a new definition for it.
There
So I
we go.
appreciate you
Thanks,
guys
Coach
coming
Brown.
in.
Yeah, no problem.
This is a school. This is a college. We're going to learn some stuff. So I really appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck on the season, and good luck against Hutchinson.
thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for that.
absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
See you.